Well, hello, everybody. It's Brian, keeping Walt and Disney. We're going to talk about Babes in Toyland today. A great movie. I love it. This is really good and just one of those great live action movies of Walt's time. Walt Disney's first live action musical. And we're going to have a lot of fun talking about this film, the actors, some of our favorite scenes, some of the crazy scenes, and some of the hilarity that is part of this movie. And let's go ahead and invite my co-host, Jared. We'll get him in here. On the practice, so hopefully he can see my request, and he's in there, and I saw your face.
Oh my goodness. Good.
How you doing today, Jared? All right, I'm doing fine. I'm excited to talk about this movie.
Me too. Me too. It's a good one. Well, it's an interesting one.
Yeah, I mean it's Christmas. It is. Yeah. Okay, I'll just come out right now and say it's not one of my favorites, but it is a fun one because a lot of my favorite actors are in it. And so it's one of those great Disney family movies. What I mean by that is like the Disney family of actors. You get a lot of familiar faces in it.
Oh yeah,
and
totally. Can you hear me all right? Awesome.
Yeah, I can hear you fine. Yeah, I see your collection of stuff, which is good.
I definitely have the Babes in Toyland stuff. So.
All right. So, so what we're going to do tonight is kind of go through the movie a little bit. We're going to talk about some of our favorite moments from the film. Of course, we're going to share all of our favorite Babes in Toyland items. And like I always do with these is I have these albums, right? So here's one of them. And then I also have this Storyteller album that we can kind of go through later. And if you send me a direct message through Instagram, I can invite you to my Dropbox account, and I'll just drop these in there for you, and you can have this music. And maybe these two, these little 45s.
It's worth it because the music is fantastic in this film. It's definitely one of the strong points.
Definitely. Yeah, that's right. We'll talk about the strong points. Let's talk about the weak points. Yeah. So, how's everything been going?
Crazy. But it's Christmas. Well, it's getting. I can't believe how close it is to Christmas. But it's less than what is it? 10 days.
Yeah, 10 days.
Which is crazy.
Right.
Sometimes it doesn't even feel like Christmas.
I know. I've had that feeling this Christmas too, because I was sick a couple weeks ago, and that's I sing in the Messiah chorus every year, and I wasn't able to do it this year because I had no voice. Yeah, so that's kind of one of those things that really gets me in the Christmas mood, and so oh well, I can sing some for you guys now.
No, I did go to Disneyland.
I'll spare you.
So that was fun. And it's always good to go to Disneyland at Christmas,
Yeah.
So, and we were able to ride. Like, I like it when they do the overlays for Christmas. So that's a Wonderful Life. It's a Small World, Haunted Mansion Holiday. All of that was great.
Yeah, that's all fun to do. I miss Disneyland at Christmas. So let's see who we got. I saw Elmer join in. I saw Chris. Lots of new faces. They popped in and popped out. Maybe they're not big Babes in Toyland fans. Chris says, Elmer says Merry Christmas. MD Snotty is watching Beauty and the Beast while he's on here. That's cool. Multitasking. Chris says boo. I love this movie. It's a favorite of mine. Well, you might be saying boo a couple more times.
I do.
But no, I do love this movie. It's fun to revisit. I watch it every Christmas, of course.
It definitely is a fun movie, and I definitely do like it. But I'm not going to sugarcoat either.
Yeah, but we'll talk about our favorite moments and our not so favorite ones. But Babes in Toyland, 1961 film, Walt Disney's first live action musical. There's a little bit of history behind why it's his first, and it has to do with the Wizard of Oz.
Oh yeah,
remember
for sure.
When we talked Return to Oz, we got really deep into the history of Disney and Oz, and that was supposed to be Walt's first live action musical. And like we talked about on that show, it never really came to fruition. The Mouseketeers presented this whole idea to him. That didn't really fly. I think Walt wanted some stronger actors to be part of his musical. And it just never really got off the ground. He ended up canceling the Mickey Mouse Club and really just keeping Annette around. And so Annette, he wanted from the start to be Mary in this. There are some interesting tidbits here with Ward Kimball, who was kind of signed on to direct Babes in Toyland. And were you? Okay. And Walt didn't like how he went above him to work on the casting. He was going out to Broadway and like trying to recruit for Mary, but Walt wanted Annette all along. So Walt said, don't do that. I'm going to replace you with a new director, and I think it was Jack Donahue, right?
Yep.
Donahue. Yeah, Jack Donahue, which you'll talk about. But that's kind of an interesting little thing between Ward and Walt, because they do have some history. But when you think back to the Snow White days, where Ward animated all these sequences that never made it into the picture, and Walt made it up to him by letting him direct and host all of those Walt Disney, those anthology films like Man in Space, Mars and Beyond.
It's Tough to Be a Bird.
Those are all kind of like yeah. So, and then when Babes in Toyland came along, Walt gave him a chance to direct, but then I think who knows why Ward went outside of Walt's normal bounds to these sets for his directors, because he does like to be involved.
He does like to be involved, but here's the thing: like, it seems like maybe Walt took from Ward's playbook, especially when casting Mary Poppins.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. Okay, I know where you're going with that. With Julie Andrews.
Julie Andrews ends up winning the Academy Award. And
well, and the reason why I think Walt did that is because he realized that Ward was probably right, and the way this film performed and kind of like comes off, on screen, it really needed a Tom and Mary that were a lot like more like Broadway-esque than what we see in this picture.
I agree.
Yeah.
Can we get a boo? Can we get a boo, Chris?
But can we get a boo? I guess not. Maybe people are agreeing. But welcome everybody. I'm gonna try to do a few things differently today, just to involve the chat a little bit more, especially when we talk about the cast. But let's just get right into the history. We talked a little bit about Ward Kimball and his demise with this film, but it was short-lived. He came back strong later. But go ahead, Jared. What do you got? Oh wait, we forgot to show our stuff. Well, go ahead with the history first, and then we'll show our stuff.
I just have
we'll mix it up a little bit.
Bit of the history, because we talked about the Ward Kimball stuff or whatever, but of course, this is based on the operetta by Victor Herbert and Glenn McDonough. I'm not the musical person that you are.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm musical, but not as extensive as you.
Yeah, but I'll be honest with you. I'm not a big fan of operettas. Okay. They're a little too light for me. I mean, I do like the Gilbert and Sullivan things. Those are fun.
Is that Pirates of Penzance?
That's Pirates of Penzance, HMS Pinafore, shows like that, which is really light opera. Jacques Offenbach wrote a lot of operettas, and Disney fans know Offenbach from his composition that was used in the Enchanted Tiki Room, like the Barker role. So that is actually from one of his operas that the name is escaping me right now, but Orpheus in the Underworld or something like that. You guys in the chat can help me. Offenbach's most famous opera. It's I almost had it, but anyways,
it was.
Yeah, operas are fun, and that's what this is.
Is not this is not a deep story, although Walt did change the story a lot, from what I heard of the operetta. Which I haven't seen it, but it was in 1903, I think the operetta came out, and then in 1934 there was a film version starring Laurel and Hardy called Babes in Toyland, and then you did. I've
that today.
Seen it.
Okay. Oh, well, we'll talk about it. Yeah.
And then there were also apparently 3 television adaptations prior to the Disney film, but the Disney film was the second one to be released theatrically, and it was the first of a Babes in Toyland filming to be filmed in Technicolor. And Walt wanted to, apparently in 1955. Oh yeah, Technicolor. There you go. In 1955, Walt announced that he would produce the Babes in Toyland as an animated feature, but then he changed it to in 1959, saying that it would be a live-action television movie. And then somewhere along the way, it was released theatrically as a Christmas release in 1961, 61 years ago yesterday. Which was a fun little, I didn't even realize that.
Yeah.
It was a fun little coincidence.
Yeah. We're one day behind, and we're doing this on the anniversary of Walt Disney's passing.
Yeah. Well, and you know what? This is random. Yeah. This is the anniversary of me moving to California as well, 17 years ago. So look at that.
Let's see. It's I moved away from California 19 years ago.
We missed each other.
Not this. Yeah, just a little bit. So yeah, Gary is loud. He talked about, you stay off of my Bach, I'll stay off of your Bach. That's from the Tiki Room. Great segment of the Tiki Room that's no longer part of the show. But Aria Glow asks, what is this? Babes in Toyland, a movie from 1961 that we're talking about today. So welcome. Yes, it is. So excited for that.
One other thing is, like, Disney really was, since this was going to be Disney's first live action musical, he was really promoting it. He had a special that was released on the Disneyland show. Oh my gosh, why is it slipping my mind? Because I didn't type it down. The Backstage.
Yeah. It's the Wonderful World of Color, December 17th, 1961, Backstage Party.
That's where Annette was the host, and walked him through Toyland and the sets and stuff like that. And then also some of the sets from the film were actually brought down to Disneyland, and was made into like a walk-through type attraction. Yeah.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I think this was the first attraction in the Opera House, because prior to this exhibit being there, it was used as a lumber mill to build buildings on Disneyland. So I guess once they got done building buildings, it's like, let's clear out the lumber. And then, like you said, Walt put a lot of time and effort and money into promoting this film. So they staged those sets in the Opera House, and folks could come by and check it out. I'm sure it's very colorful. I've not seen pictures
from what I've read, they showed clips from, or they brought in part of the Force of No Return, as well as the shoe house, which I actually noticed again watching it, just how awesome that set was. Awesome the set was. So yeah, I mean, it's interesting.
Yeah.
That's the one he decided to go with as the first live action musical. But, you know, like you said, we were going to have The Wizard of Oz, but it just didn't work out.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't
work out. But he hit a home run 3 years later with Mary Poppins, but he learned a lot from this and how to do it right with Mary Poppins.
I agree.
Yeah, totally.
So
okay. Yeah. You want to show off our stuff now?
Show off our stuff.
And I can go through the plot a little bit while I show my lobby cards.
So I have those same records that you had shown at the beginning. My sister got me that one and sent it off to me, so that was really nice. Of course, the beta tape, the Betamax tape. I like that the VHS cover of it. But they also released a second copy of VHS that's a little bit different cover. So of course I have that.
Cool.
And then another VHS of it. This is an interesting cover as well, I think. But it's actually the same as the DVD.
That's the the DVD,
and
right?
The Blu-ray.
Yeah.
This book.
Wow, how creative!
This book. It is
what is this?
Big Golden Book, apparently. Yeah.
Oh, the Big Golden Books. Yeah. Okay.
Which I think it's fun because there's a map in there that showed us like where Mother Goose Village is.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, to kind of orient yourself around Toyland.
And I like the gypsy camp way over here, and then the sea. Unfortunately, it's used, and some kid had scribbled through a couple pages, but most of it is,
Oh, that adds charm.
So there's that.
I wonder if that kid is still a Disney fan today.
Maybe, and then of course the little record.
Oh, okay. The See, Hear, and Read record. I don't have that one.
Which I like that cover as well. And then the Little Golden Book, which is an interesting cover as well.
Nice.
Because that looks nothing like Annette.
Yeah. She's making dolls. She's just a toy.
Yeah. That's my little collection.
All right. Well, I had the DVD and I showed these cool little 45s that I just picked up recently.
That's cool.
I love this artwork here with Ed Wynn. Yeah. And on the back of this, this is not, the other one has pictures, but this is, the Workshop song, which is like probably my favorite song in the movie. And just cute artwork. They did a lot of really creative artwork on these covers. That's why, I don't even mind if the 45s skip or they're all scratched up. I buy them for this. And this is one of my favorite 45 covers here.
That's so good.
Look at that. You've got Edwin, and then Kevin Corcoran, who's facing him, and his brother Brian, and then
twins.
One half of the twins that like give me creepy.
Shining.
What's that movie with Jack Nicholson?
Look at her; she's just staring out into nothing.
I know that they don't smile the whole movie. They give me the creeps. But anyways, I'm sure they had a wonderful time making this film. And
I would have had a blast.
I'm sure they were happy.
Film, honestly, and
yeah,
Annette is said to say this was her favorite one to film. So,
oh, okay.
Apparently, Jack Donahue is pretty cool to work with.
Yeah. Yeah, I had heard that. Like, she had spoken very highly of him, especially like since her previous film, which was The Horsemasters. Yeah, she didn't have a good experience. I wonder what that experience was with that director.
And I wonder if Tommy Kirk felt the same way.
Yeah. Yeah, I wonder if that it is in Annette's biography. I'll have to read that again. I don't remember reading. I've read it. I don't remember that. She talking about the Horsemasters and what happened. But here is Chris. Edwin, here he is. You're gonna shoot him in the head.
To talk about when that is like, Edwin.
Yeah. So this Babes in Toyland album, I have an extra copy of this, and so the first one to send me a direct message watching this video, I will send you this album. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have this?
I didn't show it to you, but
so these are really cool, and the storybook albums, have a lot of the music from the film. Sometimes it's music from the film, and sometimes it's more covers of songs where the artists that were in the film didn't sing, And this just a nice, colorful album here.
See, I just love all of these pictures from all of these albums in all of the.
Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna go through the plot, and this. Right. I have both, Chris. This one is a magic mirror. It's on the shelf. I didn't pull it out, but yeah, they did two versions of this. A magic mirror. And what that means, Chris says, is there was a cutout right here that you can look through the album and see the artwork on the first page.
I've seen that. They had they did that with several of them, because I think I have maybe Pinocchio or Bambi or one of those. Where they did.
My display is falling apart. But hold on, I'll grab it really quick. It's just right in the next one.
So Babes in Toyland, the music is phenomenal, and I know that everybody. It's a good thing that the music's phenomenal, because it is the freaking first Disney musical. If the music was bad, it would have been a complete and utter disaster, as opposed to just a little bit of a flip.
Yeah. Oh, here's the magic mirror that Chris was talking about. So, as you can see, it's got this cutout. So when you open the album, there's a hole, right? There's a hole there, and there's the first picture. So the movie opens with this really great scene. Of course, it's introduced by Sylvester the Goose and Mother Goose, and then we just come upon the scene of Mother Goose's village.
You're skipping over one line that made me laugh when Sylvester announces Mother Goose's age. Like, it makes me smile and makes me laugh out loud, because it's like this fun little tone that you know that this movie is going to be in. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Oh, she's like, I'm weighing in at 189 pounds is Mother Goose.
And I'm like, okay, this is going to be tongue in cheek. And I think that they did need something like that to kind of set up how, I don't want to say corny, but how goofy this movie was. Maybe goofy's not the right word, but they needed that to kind of set it up. That this is not going to be a serious.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of laugh out loud moments in this movie. So Chris is sharing a lot of facts about the albums. He mentioned that here's a cast album, but it has all the songs from the motion picture, but some of them are not sung by the actors. Like Thurl Ravenscroft actually is on this album singing Castle in Spain.
That's unreal.
Yeah.
It's so weird.
I know.
But it's weird if
it's kind of cool.
First musical. Promote the music.
But I think here is the Buena Vista record that is the soundtrack album. So this has all of the songs from, Annette sings on this album, and you've got Ed Wynn and Ray Bolger, Gene Sheldon, Henry Calvin, and some descriptions of them and what they've done. So yeah, this is a really fun album. This is the same album that you can buy on iTunes as well. So you can download the whole soundtrack on iTunes.
I wonder if it's on Spotify. I'll have to check.
So Chris says it's not the original soundtrack, huh? Well, I'll have to look that up. It could be one of those that like Camerata had produced and all the actors came back and sang it. So, yeah. Well,
sorry to get you off track. I just had to say that about Mother Goose weight.
Oh, yeah, no problem. So, by the way, send me a direct message and I'll send you this album with your address.
The first
send that out to you.
One?
First one to do it. Yeah. So, all right. So back to the plot. And, well, you know what? Let's talk about the actors first before we get into that's what we usually do. Because that's what I've got written on my notes here. So, yeah. So we will, okay, Chris is pretty adamant on saying don't need to look it up. It is not the original soundtrack. Fact. Okay, well, Chris is the music expert, so I think we can kind of trust what he has to say about it. But it's nice that it's out there that you can download on iTunes. So if that's the case, then bummer that there is no soundtrack, because that's a major miss for Disney. Yep. So Ray Bolger plays Barnaby, our villain in this movie.
This is the first time he's ever played a villain on screen. Was this?
Yeah, I know. And he did a great job. Very convincing villain. He wasn't as mean as he could have been, especially when you compare it to like the 1934 Barnaby. In that one, he was really mean. Yeah, and of course, there's an interesting Wizard of Oz connection, since this movie was born out of Wizard of Oz, that they brought Ray Bolger, the Scarecrow, to be in this film.
There were a lot of similarities with Wizard of Oz, or at least when I was rewatching it, I was like, this is very reminiscent of Wizard of Oz. And I'm wondering if maybe subconsciously or consciously Walt wanted that in there. Even the opening sets of Mother Goose Village reminded me of Munchkinland. Yeah.
Munchkinland. Yeah. A lot of really the color. Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Which, both were filmed on a soundstage. Yeah. Oh, Chris says he's the most mean when he picks up, Tiny Tom. And he has that really, he does have that kind of creepy laugh, that does kind of.
He's good.
Yeah. I didn't feel like he never completely obliterated Tom with the poof gun or anybody. So if he had like completely obliterated like one of the kids, then I would be like, oh, wow, he's the real deal.
So that's that's the starting point.
Yeah. I was kind of hoping that he got to handle that poof gun and maybe got one of those twins.
Maybe they would have showed some emotion.
but they never, the kids were all asleep because the adults were playing with the toys. So yeah, that's Ray Bolger. Tommy Sands, who there he is, right up there. He played Tom Piper. Just like Ray Bolger, he didn't have any other Disney credits except one credit Tommy has on a Disney album. And I'll just leave that as a trivia question. I know Chris knows this, but Tommy Sands did record another Disney album with Annette. It was a cover, and was the title song in another live action film. So, which is a neat story. So as soon as someone gets that right, we can talk a little bit more about that. Yep,
it's from
and
the
Chris
same
got
year,
it.
1961.
Yeah, 1961, which is really funny. While they were kind of finishing up Babes in Toyland, Tommy and Annette, of course, were on hand at the studios, and the Sherman Brothers had them come and record the song, which you hear their version when the credits open. You get that wonderful stop motion animation by Bill Justice, Bill Justice and Xavier Atencio. While that's on screen, you hear Tommy and Annette sing the Parent Trap song. Yeah, great.
It's really
version. Good. Love that version. So that's his only other Disney credit, as far as I know. And then, of course, we have Annette, and her list of Disney credits are pretty extensive. So I just wanted to know from the chat, like, what are some of your favorite Annette Funicello credits? Like, for me, my most favorite are her episodes on Zorro. I just love her in Zorro because she had a major crush on Guy Williams, and it really comes through in those in those episodes. So,
your favorite Disney credits?
Not any credit. I've got a whole list here, but I just want to know you and anybody in the chat wants to chime in with their favorite Annette credits.
The most interesting Annette movie from Disney for me was The Horsemasters. I just thought that was just an interesting film. And then, of course, I love the Merlin Jones movies, but the one that makes me laugh that I love watching every time, it's not Disney, but from 1987, Back to the Beach. I absolutely love that movie.
Yeah.
I love that she and Frankie Avalon are just in on the joke and making fun of themselves in all their silly beach movies from the 60s. So Back to the Beach is probably my favorite one. And it's so charming. And then to know that she was going through her diagnosis while filming that was just... It's...
Right. Yeah. That isn't the story go where like Frankie saw her kind of stumbling on a deck or something a little bit and had to help her, and that's so Chris says Babes in Toyland is his favorite Annette credit. That's cool. Yeah, I mean, she's very, very lovely throughout this film and has a great song. I Can't Do the Sum. Elmer says the Annette cereal, of course. Annette so charming.
On the next episode.
Yeah, that, and also Annette with little Karen introducing each one. And Zorro. So some of her other Disney things that you guys didn't mention. The song. She sang this wonderful song in The Horsemaster. So I'll leave that as a trivia question for anybody that can,
by the way, answer.
Yeah. And one song she sang that came out of Zorro. So 2 songs.
And I liked, Chris said Lots of Luck with Martin Mull. I actually really enjoyed that one. That one.
Oh, Gary's number 1 is Babes in Toyland too. That's cool. Yeah. I mean, she's really one of the reasons why I pop this in my DVD player every year. is just, I love Annette, and
I agree.
She's just absolutely lovely. So the strumming song, yep, that's from the Horsemasters. Good. And then she sang a song on the Zorro series, Lonely Guitar. You can't stump Chris with music.
I'm not even trying to stump Chris with music. It's quite impressive.
Yeah.
Quite impressive.
Yeah. So a couple other credits: Escapade in Florence with Tommy Kirk, Shaggy Dog also with Tommy Kirk, Tim Considine. Yeah, Escapade in Florence is really good. That is one of my favorites. You mentioned the Merlin Jones series, and she did a lot of records for Disneyland or Buena Vista Records, like her first album, the Annette album, Hawaiian Annette, Italian. I love those titles. And then Dance Annette, and then later on Annette's Beach Party, Muscle Beach Party. Lots of fun albums. All right, continuing on, we've got, of course, Ed Wynn.
The incomparable Ed Wynn.
Who was, the toy maker. Awesome. What are some of your favorite Ed Wynn credits?
I'll tell you, my favorite one is the Gnome-mobile.
Yeah, that was his last Disney credit.
Huh? When he's announcing all the little gnome maidens and just loves all their names. And then, of course, the most memorable one.
Yeah.
Honestly, the most memorable one would be Mary Poppins.
Yeah. Ed Wynn for the win. You know what my favorite one is this movie.
I want to talk to you about Ed Wynn. About Ed Wynn's scenes in this movie.
Yeah. He is another reason why I watch this every year, because he just has so much. He's so much like joie de vivre, I guess. Mr. Hofstadter and that darn cat. Favorite Ed Wynn movie is Mary Poppins. I would have said Mary Poppins, except for I wish he had a little bit bigger of a part. But that is a great scene, though. I love to laugh, and they're all up on the ceiling, and all the jokes are hilarious.
I know a man with a wooden leg named Smith.
Yeah. All right. Other Ed Wynn credits, of course, the Mad Hatter in Alice in Wonderland voiced that. He was in The Absent-Minded Professor, Son of Flubber, Those Callaways. He's really funny in that one. If you haven't seen Ed Wynn and Those Callaways, you should definitely check that movie out. It's also on Disney Plus. And I have down here For the Love of Willadine.
For the Love of Willadine is good too.
He was in, yeah. He was in the second half of that episode, and it was called The Haunted House. Yeah. That's fine, but how are you at Chase? That joke's funny. I had to, I can't remember how it goes. Yeah, Mad Hatter, of course. That's fine, but how are you at Chasing Mice, Chris? So that's from Mary Poppins. It's he lost his cat, and then Dick Van Dyke was like, well, I can replace your cat. And Edwin's like, well, how are you? That's fine, but how are you at Chasing Mice? Yeah. All right. Well, Tommy Kirk is another actor. He plays Grumio, the Toymaker's assistant. And, we just recently lost Tommy Kirk, and he had a whole long list of Disney credits too. And so same game. Tommy Kirk fans out there, what do you guys like? So I'll start. My favorite Tommy Kirk is more of a dramatic role with Swiss Family Robinson. I love him in that movie. I love how he and James MacArthur fight over Janet Monroe.
Yeah.
And Old Yeller is a close second, just for the drama in that.
He was so young in Old Yeller as well.
So, yeah. Mm-hmm. But even when he first came on the scene with the Hardy Boys and the Mystery of the Applegate Treasure, yeah, he was so good in that too. So Chris, Old Yeller is his favorite. Yeah, I mean that you can't. He really put himself on the map with that movie.
I would have to say the Merlin movies, the Merlin Jones movies, but I just Edward Payton Florence is just really good. And honestly, him and Annette were very good together. So,
yeah, they had. Yep, I agree.
The movies.
I thought I had a good picture of. There he is. Yeah.
So yeah, those.
So some of his other ones. Anybody? Oh, Elmer says he loves all of Tommy Kirk's Disney roles. Old Yeller's his best. Yeah, I would have to agree. I mean. I really love Swiss Family Robinson. Of course, Absent-Minded Professor, Son of Flubber. He was also he did a lot of work with Annette, like you said. Horse Masters, Escapade in Florence, the Merlin Jones movies, the sequel to Old Yeller, Savage Sam, and he is really funny in Bon Voyage. If you haven't seen that, Fred MacMurray, he did a lot of movies with Kevin Corcoran, who was also.
Oh, you know what other movie I loved with him?
Speaking
in
it?
Of Moon Pilot.
Moon Pilot. Yes. That's a good movie. I need to watch that again. So Kevin Corcoran, who I don't really have a picture. He's right there
in the blue
next to Edwin. Chris says it seems like some of the same sound effects from the toy making machine were used for the Small World clock. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised either. That's a good observation there. Yep, I get serious Willy Wonka vibes when I watch that scene, like the everlasting gobstopper machine for some reason. So Kevin Corcoran played Boy Blue, and yeah, we'll just continue with this. What are some of your favorite Kevin Corcoran moments? Because I'm doing this because I watched this movie for the actors. Really, I love all of them, and so Kevin Corcoran is just one of those that I'll say this about Kevin Corcoran in this movie: I don't think it was a good fit for him. You're so used to Moochie, right? Causing trouble and being kind of more central in some of these movies. And he really just had kind of a side.
He was off to the side. And honestly, the movies that he did do before this, Pollyanna is my favorite. And then Toby Tyler, he's quite precocious and he has such a distinct voice. And this movie I feel like it underused him.
Yeah. And that kind of bugged me a little bit because he's the kind of the actor where he needs to be more central to the plot.
Apparently, and correct me if I'm wrong, but apparently the story or the original operetta dealt more with the kids. Am I wrong about that?
The original the 34 the Laurel and Hardy version
dealt more with the kids, and then when they were rewriting it,
yeah,
they changed it and made more about this love triangle between Mary and Tom and Barnaby for the Disney version. So if they had included the kids more, maybe the role would have been beefier.
Yeah, I agree with that. So Elmer says that Johnny Shiloh is his favorite for Kevin. That is a
good pick.
That's a great pick. A very, very dramatic role for Kevin Corcoran, and he pulls it off. Yeah, if you haven't seen Johnny Shiloh, it's available on DVD. You can pick that up on Amazon. I think that's where I got my copy. Chris and I have the same favorite, Toby Tyler. I love him in Toby Tyler. He's funny. He's very dramatic, and he learned how to do all those exercises or those tricks for the circus.
Yeah, that's
impressive. So really talented.
And he's able to, like, I feel like with somebody like Kevin Corcoran, he could be typecast because of his strange voice and the fact that he's little. He was able to hold that entire film, Toby Tyler, and it was a serious role too. And
yeah, it was because he ran away from. Maybe we'll have to do Toby Tyler. Yeah, let's do that one in March, because we already have the next couple films picked out. We're gonna do Happiest Millionaire in January, and then Song of the South in February, and then maybe we'll do Toby Tyler. Yeah, and Mr. Stubbs, of course. Mr. Stubbs. Oh, and he talked to money out of shooting. That's right. That was great. So I love that scene. That's like super dramatic. I mean, the monkey's got the gun, right? And Toby gets it away from him. He's like shooting up the town. Yeah. Toby Tyler. The more I watch that, the more I really love it. And it's got Henry Calvin and Gene Sheldon, who we're going to talk about. So Henry Calvin's next.
I texted you that I got this the other day at Amoeba.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I have that one, and I have another Toby Tyler that I just picked up, but it's on my wall already. Kevin Corcoran, just to finish him off, his very first experience with Disney is Adventure in Dairyland, which I just uploaded to my YouTube channel, so you can watch that. The quality's not so great, but Spin and Marty, both the second and third seasons of Spin and Marty was on that. Old Yeller, the Shaggy Dog, who was the voice of Goliath in Goliath 2, or Goliath the Second. He was the voice of Goliath the Second, which is like Goliath Jr. That's what the second means, because his dad's name was Goliath. Pollyanna, Swiss Family Robinson, Daniel Boone, he was in that with his brother Brian, which Chris was correct. This other little guy right here is Kevin Corcoran's brother. Moochie of Little League and Moochie of Pop Warner Football, right? He was Goofy Jr.'s voice in Aquamania, one of my favorite Goofy shorts. I love that. If you haven't seen Goofy in Aquamania, it's so good. It's one of the last Goofy shorts. Of course, Bon Voyage. He was in the Mooncussers, Johnny Shiloh, Savage Sam, and his last film was A Tiger
Walks. I forgot about Mooncussers. That's a good one too.
And then he got into like producing. So one of Kevin Corcoran's fellow actors in Toby Tyler two of them were Henry Calvin, who I love this guy, Sergeant Garcia and Zorro, so awesome. And then, of course, in Toby Tyler, he was Ben Cotter. He drove the wagon around, sang some great songs. Henry Calvin has one of the greatest cover songs. One of my all-time favorite Henry Calvin moments is him singing a song from Peter Pan that was just an instrumental in the film, but it was put to words. So that's a good trivia question that I know Chris knows.
And Jared doesn't know.
You don't know? Oh, okay. Yeah, it's a great song. There was a version he sang, and there was another one, I think Jerry Lewis sang it too, which is kind of really goofy. But the Henry Calvin version of this song is one of my favorite Disney songs, because he gets into a little bit of a patter with it, and it just showcases his talent as a voice artist.
He's great.
So he's awesome. And then, Never Smile at a Crocodile, which is it's the song that you hear when TikTok, the the crocodile is going to chase after Hook because he wants to eat his other hand. So you hear that theme, and it was given lyrics, and Henry Calvin sings the best version of that. Yeah, great song. So there's Gonzorgo, and then his partner in crime. Oh, I didn't know that about Never Smile at a Crocodile. The first cover version was the Paulette Sisters in 1953. I have not heard that one, so I'm going to go look that up after. Cool. Calvin's version was in 58. When was Jerry Lewis?
You don't have to look it up. Chris knows his music.
Yeah, no, I mean, I need to look it up and listen to it. Yeah. When was the Jerry Lewis cover done? That one's really wacky. So here's Gene Sheldon, who played Rodrigo. And, of course, he was in Zorro. Kind of plays a similar character here that he did in Zorro, a mute.
They're like,
although
they're like Penn and Teller that way.
Yeah. Uh-huh. And he was also in Toby Tyler, but he had a speaking role in that. So that's really interesting to see him speak. And then he kind of reprises his Rodrigo role in the Golden Horseshoe, the 10,000th anniversary show. He's got a little segment on that, which is hilarious. Just, yeah. Go and watch that. That episode's on YouTube. And watch Gene Sheldon's little vaudeville act. It's so funny. Yeah. So we also have Mary McCarty, who played Mother Goose. I didn't know any other roles for her. And then we have Ann Jillian, who was Little Bo Peep. And she has one other Disney credit. Does anybody know that one? That's a good trivia question. Ann Jillian was in another Disney television show. And it's funny because in this show, she's wearing like a Camp Inch sweater. You see her in it.
Yeah.
From like, the camp that Haley Mills was in The Parent Trap. So that's Ann Jillian's other Disney credit. So we'll see if anybody can guess that. Gary asks, was Henry Calvin a model for Pirates of the Caribbean? Yeah. Was he? I mean, look at him. Is he the yodeling singing pirate?
It looks like
kind of like the yodel. Yeah, the one that sings with there's like a donkey and a couple other pirates. Yeah, maybe. I believe that. Chris was right. Sammy the Way Out Seal is the other Ann Jillian credit with Bill Mumy and Michael McGreevy. Great Disney episodes.
Is fantastic.
It's
absolutely fantastic.
Is. And Disney Plus, Disney Plus shortchanged us on that.
Yes.
Totally shortchanged us. The DVD has the complete Sammy the Way Out Seal with all the crazy grocery store shenanigans and the elevator scene. Yeah. You don't see that on Disney Plus.
So weird.
Which is too bad. I know. So you got to get the DVD. Yeah, we interviewed Michael McGreevy on an episode of the Jiminy Crickets podcast. I think it was one of those Dateline episodes, and he was great. He had a lot of great stories about Walt, about working with Kurt Russell and the Dexter Riley shows.
Because I listened to that episode, and that's actually where I heard. Because I had never heard of For Love of Willowdene up until that point. For some reason,
yeah,
it's not through the cracks. And so I looked it up and I watched it. It's fantastic. But yeah, that's a good interview with.
It's really good.
McGreevy.
And you can watch Ed Wynn in probably his least known Disney role. I mean, if you probably ask any Ed Wynn fan, they would probably leave For the Love of Willowdene off the list. So, yeah, it's great. And you can watch it on YouTube. And I have a copy. I might upload it to my YouTube channel just because I love it so much. So I have a pretty clean copy of it on DVD. So yeah, that's the cast. So the film, I think what we'll do is just kind of talk about like our favorite scenes now. But really briefly, the plot here, I'm not going to get into anything, but the plot's pretty simple. You've got Annette and Tom, or Mary and Tom, who are going to get married, right? And
Barnaby.
You have this guy, Barnaby, who knows that Mary's going to inherit a large sum of cash when she marries, so he wants that. So he plots with Gonzargo and Rodrigo to get rid of Tom and destroy Annette's life, basically. Get rid of her livelihood, steal the sheep, get rid of Tom so that he can come in, marry Mary, and who knows what he would have done with Mary at that point. So here's part of the plot here where Tom and Mary are singing about their love, and then Rodrigo and Gonzargo are getting ready to bonk Tom on the head, which they do, and they put him in a bag, right, and take him to the sea to drown him. Only they go on a little detour, and they end up selling him to the gypsies instead. So meanwhile, Barnaby makes this move on Annette in a great scene in a song where he sings Castle in Spain. Just absolutely love that scene. So it ends up that they steal the sheep. Okay, here's the beginning of the film with the lemonade ladies.
Lemonade ready to go.
And some dancing in that first scene. And here's the Castle in Spain scene with Barnaby and
the fountain
Mary.
Is key to that scene. There's a key player.
Oh, I know. Yeah. So we'll talk. We'll get more into that here in a sec. But so Gonzargo and Rodrigo sell Tom to the gypsies, and meanwhile, after Mary loses her sheep, or Bo Peep loses her sheep, she's like has no choice but to marry Barnaby, and so Rodrigo and Gonzargo wake the whole town up and have them come out for this town meeting, and Barnaby announces that he's going to marry Mary. Then he's hired a band of gypsies to perform in celebration, and then we get this great scene, which I think is Tom's best scene. I mean, this it's really well done. His Floretta scene, which we can talk about a little bit, but he reveals that he's not dead, and he and Mary can get married, but first they need to get the sheep back. So they go to the Forest of No Return to find the sheep, and these whacked out trees are there holding the kids prisoners who went off to go find the sheep on their own. Don't get me started with the trees. I can't with the trees. So they ended up, they're prisoners. And so how do they get out of the Forest of No Return? Well, they have to go to the toy maker, who's like king of the land, and he can release them. So we cut away to the toy shop, and here's where we meet Grumio, and he's got this crazy invention that makes toys. And, Edwin gets a little excited about the toy making process and destroys the machine. And so the kids end up helping and build all these wonderful toys. And meanwhile, Rodrigo or Barnaby and his henchmen are back, and they are trying to, Barnaby can't give up. He's got to marry Mary, right? And so he's still trying to get rid of Tom. Well, Grumio invents this like poof gun that he shoots things with, and he can shrink big things into little things to make toys. The only problem is, where is he going to get all the big things to shrink to little things? And so, oops, back to the drawing board. Well, Edwin is like this invention stinks. He throws it out the window, and lo and behold, Barnaby gets a hold of it and shrinks everybody. And fortunately, that kind of gives Tom the opportunity to be the leader of all these toys, and they do this massive attack scene, which is outstanding scene. And they defeat Barnaby that way, and then they go back to Mother Goose Village and get married, and they live happily ever after as they fly away on their sleigh. So that's the plot in a nutshell. And hi, Caleb. Nice to join you. Hey, by the way, Caleb, I heard you on WDW Radio on that podcast, so it was good to hear your voice. Yes, the host of that show, Lou Mangello, some great questions, and I was like, I know Caleb. Yeah, it was really cool, and he asked some really interesting questions. So go listen to the latest episode of WDW Radio podcast, which is one of my favorites. Caleb's on it. So that's it. Let's talk about our favorite scenes. So everybody in the chat, if you have a favorite scene from Babes in Toyland, go ahead and chime in, but I'll let Jared talk about his number one, or I mean, you can, if you pick 2 or 3, you can go like in reverse order, however you want.
So all of my scenes, except for one of my favorite scenes, are once they get to Toyland. I think once they get to Toyland, that's actually the better part. But I would say the one outside of Toyland that I really enjoyed was, for some reason, the I Can't Do the Sum scene. It's just so out of left field, but it's so fun to hear. It's so fun to hear Annette. It's so great to hear Annette singing, but also it's such a wackadoo scene that I enjoy watching it.
Mm-hmm.
The visuals are loopy. She puts all the kids to bed and then just sings about bills. Bills.
Yeah, because she's in this dilemma here where she has to either marry Barnaby or lose her house, right? Because that's another like little part of the plot there. Like he apparently, it's a little more clear in the 1934 version that Barnaby owns the mortgage on the house. Not so much in the Disney movie, but he can legally confiscate the house. And so she's really, that whole song is about how can she afford to keep the house and not have to marry Barnaby. And one of the things that, what is one of the solutions that she comes up with to save money?
Crap, I know.
It's the one where they can save money on shoe repair. Yeah. Okay, this scene is so... I mean, this is so pink elephants, right? Like Dumbo pink elephant. She's walking on her hands, but her skirt, for some reason, must have like an insane amount of starch on it.
Or the camera's just upside down. And she's sticking her hands up in the air.
Yeah. Okay, that's the trick.
Sticking her hands up in the air.
Yeah.
But like...
you took away all the movie magic there. Well, and Disney has to be modest and respect Annette, and so you can't have her skirt. Plus, it wouldn't make for a fun scene.
It's an interesting scene, and I enjoy watching it each time. It makes me laugh.
Yeah, it is. It's funny. And there's some neat little tricks that I think they replicated with Mary Poppins, like the mirror.
Oh, yes.
When she's singing into the mirror and it's not her reflection. And then the four colorful Annette clones come out.
The ones who walking on their hands.
Yeah. And they kind of do a like super stereo Sherman Brothers sound. You know how they made the Annette sound is like they just overdubbed her, and you get her in like quadruple, right? Yeah. So one comment here. I I saw someone say something about, CC Worthy. I don't know if you're still here, but she said she just watched March of the Wooden Soldiers with Ollie and the heavyset guy, Laurel and Hardy. Yeah. And looked like it was from the 30s. Yeah, it was 1934. So we'll mention that here in just a little bit. So anybody have a favorite scene? Go ahead and mention that in the chat.
I'll tell you my absolute favorite
I love
scene,
that.
and I think you mentioned it a little bit earlier, but I think we have the same favorite song.
Mm-hmm.
The one where they
Go for it.
Building the toys on the assembly line. It's
yeah, no doubt.
Yeah, what's the name of it? Not just a toy. The Workshop song. Yes, it's my favorite song, and it's been my favorite ever since I was little because I've always been fascinated with conveyor belts. It's just fascinating to me.
Okay. So you must love the I Love Lucy chocolate.
I love conveyor belts. They're just so efficient. Although I will say the kids are doing all the work and the toy makers doing nothing, and Tom and Mary are doing absolutely nothing. At least the toy maker is supervising. Tom and Mary are standing at the end of the conveyor belt, and they're just taking the stuff off the conveyor and setting it down to the side. So at the end of the song, all the toys are sitting off to the side. That's it.
Yeah, that's right. Oh, but this is like Edwin Gold, though, where while he's supervising, he's kind of like, he's like praising them, but in his classic Edwin style, right? It's like, we should be happy while we work. Hey, we got make 600 more of these by tomorrow. Be careful with that cannon. You're going to shoot him in the head. It's so funny. And that, this scene is why I watched the movie too. Chris said his favorite scene is the March of the Toys. Okay. Yeah, for sure. I mean, this is really, this whole scene, this, like, from the moment they get to Toyland to the end of the movie is really great Disney. It's the reason why we love Disney, I think. And it's, for me, it's like, if I can make it through kind of the slow, not so fun part of the movie until you get to Toyland, you're rewarded, because it's just so good. You have Edwin being Edwin, and then you have this outstanding, stop motion animation stuff that's a product of Bill Justice and Xavier Atencio, and just the amount of work that they have to do, right, to get that filmed is amazing. I mean, it's just awesome. It's so Disney, right? It's just the toys,
just the size of the stuff, the fact that they have to make miniatures or do those different camera angles where the toy maker's little, but he's looking up because Grumio is looking down at him when Grumio's huge. You know what I mean? Like, all of those different things are just done very well.
Yeah. Oh, and when Edwin is shrunk, like he shrunk his whole room. Like, he got the gun. He's like, I'm going to shrink my desk. I'm going to shrink my bed. And then when it's time for him to go to sleep, his bed is small, right? And he's like, I can only use this bed if my foot's asleep.
I wrote that down as one of my favorite quotes. I wrote
one of my favorite
quotes, and most of them are from Edwin.
Yeah. And then once he gets shrunk, he's like, oh, now I can sleep in my bed.
He's like, oh, I must have just been...
Yep, the eternal optimist,
yes,
Edwin.
Movie is on Disney+.
So,
CC Worthy.
Yeah, CC Worthy. Are you talking about the Disney Babes in Toyland or the 34 with Laurel and Hardy? Because I found Laurel and Hardy on YouTube.
Also,
you're right.
Jim, Celebration Disney. Hi, Jim. He loves the opening song. He loves the opening song.
Hey, Jim.
And seeing a get to dance.
Yeah. Isn't that?
And I agree. I wrote down a quote that I had read from Annette. She said it was the first and unfortunately, I think the last time I made a movie in which I actually danced something besides the Watusi or the swim.
Yes. all her beach movies.
That's awesome. I mean, yeah, it is great to see her dance, but that's awesome that you said that, Jim, because I know she would be so happy.
This is a great scene. I mean, I love it. It's, you know, Mother Goose and Sylvester set the stage, and then, you know, I love how Sylvester's like, "Hey, oh boys, open up the curtains," and you get this really like you're there, right? And you're in the audience watching this like on a stage. It's like a Broadway play, and that is a great number. I love the song, a lot of fun lyrics, and then you get all the little Mother Goose nursery rhyme characters in there, like Jack and Jill. The candlestick. Jack jumps over the candlestick.
Yeah, the Pie Man.
What's another one? Oh, the Pie Man. Yeah, Simple Simon, Meta Pie Man. And then, what is going on with why is Brian Corcoran eating the banana?
Such a jerk, just throwing the banana on the ground. Like,
I know. I was like, what are you doing? Why? He totally deserved that pie in the face. And then you just see this finger come out of the side, right? And then, like, wipe up some of the berries.
I will say, you can totally tell he's not as good of an actor as his brother, because you could tell he's just waiting for the pie to come down.
Yeah.
And, you know, he was grumpy throwing that banana, but you're right about the banana. That makes me laugh.
Yeah. Yeah. Chris mentioned Floretta. But before we do that, let's talk about the Floretta scene, because that's actually one of my favorites. We've already talked about the toy making scene.
No, we did talk about the toy making scene, but I do want to give my input on Ed Wynn. Can I give my input on Ed Wynn? I love.
Oh yeah, sure. No, we need to move on.
Both of these scenes I actually like. The one with this machine and the one with the conveyor belt. I love Ed Wynn. I laugh every time I watch this movie.
Mm-hmm.
But I think he's such a jerk in this movie. The toy maker is such a jerk.
I know. He's so kind of like, he's pretty stubborn with his position.
Is a nice way to put it. Like, one of the quotes that he wrote, that I wrote
down,
well, two of them. One of them, he says to Grumio, "You alone are responsible for everything, just you and you alone." When this machine blows up, he literally
that's right.
points the finger at him and says, "You alone are responsible." Then,
get out of here. I don't want to see you anymore.
And invent something to destroy yourself.
That's right.
He's so terrible.
The more I talk about this movie, the more I really do like it, you know. But we haven't even got to the bad stuff. But
and then, like, he won't. Right. You're right. He is stubborn, and he's like, "I'm going to use this machine." I think about $4 million each to start.
I know, and we got to put it on super speed, right? Isn't that like? Oh, there it is. Super speed. $4 million to start.
$4 million each to start. That's so dumb.
Yeah, there's one.
I love it.
Yeah. There's one thing you need to get through your head, Grumio. I'm the tour maker. You're the assistant.
And Grumio just takes it.
Yeah, that is funny.
Grumio just takes it. But then...
excuse me.
But then he says funny stuff too. Like the whole, "My goodness, this is only good if my foot's asleep." Like, those things make me laugh. Or when he, Chris was mentioning this earlier, when he is marrying Barnaby and Mary. That seems hilarious too.
Oh, I and it's all like kind of just the way he, you know, Tom and him got a thing going, right? Where Tom's trying to organize the attack, and so he's like, okay, you need to like stall. Yeah, that's great. What's the quote he says, like, I'm not marrying you. Wait, I am. I'm not marrying you. I'm marrying you. That's right. So funny. So Cece Worthy, she's watching from Wisconsin. I'm Texas, South Texas, San Antonio, Texas, and Jared is West Coast.
I'm in Glendale, California.
Oh, that's where my mom was born, Glendale. Yeah.
Yeah, cool. Just a hop, skip, and a jump
awesome.
From the Disney Studios.
Edwin, how much do we love you?
I do love
we
Edwin.
Love you.
He was a dick.
All right.
In this film. But I do love I do love Edwin.
All right. So this is, Chris mentioned this one where Tom sings Floretta. Okay, I'm not a big fan of Tommy Sands. He gives me the creeps in this movie, to be honest with you.
His voice is fantastic, though.
And it's so funny because in the backstage party, he sings the song Jeepers Creepers. And it's just like, okay, dude, you just justified like your creepiness to me. Jeepers Creepers, where'd you get those peepers? Jeepers Creepers, where'd you get those eyes? It's like, dude, he's got that whole, like, the way he moves his chin reminds me of the dude on Disneyland After Dark with the net. What's the guy that sings around and around and around the world?
Oh my gosh! I've seen it, but I don't know his name. I don't know.
What is his name?
Chris.
Oh, come on, somebody in the chat. Yeah, Chris. It's Annette and Bobby Rydell. Okay, I got it. I got it before Chris. Yeah. Oh, I guess that was just kind of like a cool way to sing. Like girls just drop dead for that voice, that style. But I mean, Tommy Sands is a good looking dude, but he gives me the creeps. Bobby Rydell, he got it. But this is his crowning moment because it's just he gets sold to the gypsies. He's in the band. He's in that wagon. See, we know that I always wondered, like, why did they show him in the wagon, right? But we already knew that he's with the gypsies because that's another thing I love. Henry Calvin and Gene Sheldon, like right after Ray Bolger, Barnaby's like, I hired a band of gypsies. And then Rodrigo and Gonzorga are like, uh-oh. Because they were supposed to throw him into the sea, and they doubled down,
to get money from Barnaby.
Sold him, right. Yeah. Tommy Sands was married to Nancy My Boots Were Made for Walking Sinatra for a minute. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, that's a really star-studded couple there. Yeah. And Nancy Sinatra was not ugly. Frank Sinatra's daughter, right?
That's a way to put it. She was not ugly.
Yeah. She was not ugly. I mean, I guess he gets the girls with that kind of like Jeepers Creepers. You know? So yeah, Henry Calvin and Gene Sheldon are they make this movie for me as well. Just I love Gene Sheldon, like how he just reacts to things, you know, kind of innocent. He's kind of the dumb guy, you know? But you know, he's just enjoying the whole show, not thinking anything bad about the gypsies, and Tom is going to reveal himself. So anyways, back to Tom. They cut to him putting on the Floretta disguise in the wagon, which, you know, did they need to do that? I mean, we already kind of knew. I think it kind of wrecked the surprise effect a little bit.
Honestly,
I don't know.
Because
what do you think?
Honestly, if I didn't know, like I might have assumed, and it's probably because the song was so long too, but he was able to change his voice and the look. Like,
oh yeah,
it was very
awesome.
good. It wasn't like I'm just going to put on a pair of sunglasses and now I'm a different person type thing.
Mm-hmm. Oh, he had like the rubber nose
Yeah, for
and the
sure.
hair, the wig, and everything. He must have been really hot with all that Floretta clothes, and he's got his full like his
Mm-hmm.
vest and long sleeve shirt.
And then all the lights.
But yeah, all the stage lights. Mm-hmm. But that song he sings, it's just some really clever lyrics. You know, he's like, "I'm a swami, and my breath doesn't reek of salami." Floretta, Floretta, da, 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 da. So he pulls that off. So great scene, awesome scene. What else? Favorite scenes? Elmer loves Henry Calvin.
I think that's all my favorite scenes.
Let's see. Oh, the other one I wanted to mention was the we didn't really talk about Castle in Spain, but we get Ray Bolger, just his dance break in this song. You know, he's singing about how much he loves. He wants to marry Annette and move to Spain and live in his castle.
Well, he's just trying to
And
lure her.
that's
and he's wearing high heels.
I know. It's just a great song. There's so many different musical styles depicted in this song. You know, you get a little bit of like the Spain, the bull, the Latin. You get like a little. I listened to Chris and Ruthie's podcast, and Chris kind of outlined a lot of the song styles, like the Charleston, and this little like he does this little thing with his neck. You know, do 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 do. do. He's a great dancer. You see that here.
I love how at the
it's fun.
Very end of the song ends, and then she's like, "No," like
no.
he did this whole big song and dance number, and she's like, "Nope."
Yeah, kind of like me in high school.
That's hilarious.
So yeah, great scene. So you know, we have to talk about why this movie didn't do so well. I thought a lot about it because I enjoy it, but why doesn't it have it made 4.6 million, the budget was 3 million, not a lot of profit. I read Leonard Maltin's summary of this, and he's I think we kind of feel the same way. I mean, I feel the same way as he does. He's probably the more of the expert here. Besides a few of the scenes, he didn't really have a whole lot to say, and I tend to agree with him. So I'll turn it over to you. What are a couple of reasons why you think this movie didn't do well? What's problematic?
I think there was a lack of cohesiveness in general. I mean, the fact that they, got rid of Ward and all of that kind of stuff and brought in new, that didn't help. It also,
yeah,
I don't know how they promoted it, and I watch it every Christmas, but it really is not a Christmas film. And then they released it at Christmas.
Yeah, you don't really get Christmas until Ed Wynn says, they got to make all these toys for the Christmas deadline. And I'm like, oh, it's a Christmas movie. Like you're an hour and 10 minutes into the movie. It's like, oh, okay.
And I wonder, and maybe I wonder what Walt said, but you know how Walt blamed the name Pollyanna for the not so well box office?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it was the second time that this was actually filmed as a film in theaters, and it is called Babes in Toyland. And I just don't know. I don't know what people were expecting. Although it looks like Elmer was saying that.
Yeah. Elmer is an interesting. People were, Walt wanted this to be animated. It didn't work out. So maybe it would have been more successful as an animated film. Good. It's an interesting observation. CC Worthy says she doesn't remember this movie, but do remember the toy soldiers at the Christmas parades, and that the soldiers are a direct result from this film. I mean, they were in the parade, and I want to say that Christmas '61, and pretty much every year since, and the style and
they
haven't changed.
Of the wooden soldiers the exact same as this film. And honestly, did you know that the wooden soldiers were also used in another film for Disney?
Oh, wow! You stumped me. The wooden soldiers were used in another Disney film.
It is.
Is it a live action film? Oh, I don't know. Does anybody in the chat know? Wow.
I will say we've mentioned the film already tonight. It is.
Is it Toby Tyler?
It is not.
I mean, that's the only thing I could think of.
You want to know?
Okay. CC Worthy says Toy Story.
It is live action.
But it's live action, you said. Okay. Anybody? Elmer, do you have a guess? You're good at this, Chris. Mary Poppins. Right. Yeah, that's okay. Yeah, when they're cleaning up the room. Those soldiers are hopping into the toy box. Okay, right. That's okay.
Yep, Mary Poppins.
Nice.
Look at that. See,
good.
Walt used a lot of stuff from Babes in Toyland in Mary Poppins.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Even the same stop motion animation. That I'll tell you what, that it was really good in Babes in Toyland. A lot of really cool scenes, but I'll tell you, the stop motion cleaning up of the bedroom is a little bit better, in my opinion. Plus the song.
No, I agree.
That goes along with it. Yeah. So okay, so I watched the 1934 version today, and it's kind of when I was watching, I was thinking, okay, that's one of the original film versions, and then we got this remake, and nowadays you get these remakes, like remaking of animation into live action, and we always say, man, these are not as good as the original. I love the original more. And when I was watching the 34 film with Laurel and Hardy, I kind of like that movie better than the Disney one. Because it's weird that I felt that way. But I do love the Disney one. I felt more attached to the characters in the 34 one. So, for example, I don't feel anything for Tom and Mary in this movie. Like, why do I like Tom? The first time we meet them, they're already getting married. Like, okay, how did they fall in love? Where's that story? So the 34 film has that. Only the difference there is there's no Mary. Tom is in love with Bo Peep. I can't imagine Tommy Sands and Ann Jillian. Although you can tell Ann Jillian has eyes for Tom, especially in the backstage party. But there's no reason for me to care about Tom. I mean, I'm already not a big Tom fan because he's dating Annette, and so that's not fair.
To be fair, though, were you alive in '61? There you go.
No. I'm not. I wasn't. But so anyway, in the 34 version, Tom, Bo Peep loses their sheep. Tom finds them, and then you see they have this whole really cute scene where Tom and Bo Peep are falling in love. It's like it's funny because she's like, I'm just going to stay here until you say that you like me. It's really cute. And there's this like set of like, what do you call those things where you put your, like in the old revolutionary times, if someone was in trouble, like stocks, is that what it's called? You put your arms and your head through. Yeah. So he puts her legs in these stocks, right? And then closes it, and he sits on top of it so she can't get away. And he's like, I'm just going to sit here until you say you're interested in me. And they just kind of like share some looks, and then she smiles, and they fall in love. So I care more. There's a little development there that gets me caring about Tom. And just to quote Leonard Maltin, he's like, Tom and Annette are just such a dull romantic team. And their songs are like uninspired and awkward and just full of mush.
Okay, so I would agree.
I don't disagree, because the songs are a little creepy to me.
The tune, like Just a Toy, I love the tune of it, the melody, all of that kind of stuff. But you're right, the words are a little creepy, and then the choreography and the way that they shot that was odd. He like ties a ribbon on her arm and all of that kind of stuff.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm. There's definitely a little over masculine tones there. Yeah.
It's a weird one. And then they're like, all right, kids, go to sleep just so we can sing. Just so we can sing about being toys. Yeah. I don't know.
Uh-huh. Yeah. So, yeah, but, those things are kind of, I'm just brainstorming here why people didn't really like the movie as much. And the 34 version is a classic, and a lot of people watch this every year. It's kind of like a traditional, at least from what I read, a lot of people on the East Coast kind of grew up with that film. And it's just one that they just have to watch every year. So, yes, yeah. The toy maker, Santa Claus, is in it. Kind of at the beginning of the film. I will say that the toy soldiers, it's funny because Santa orders the toy soldiers, right? He's like, I need 600 1.5 foot tall soldiers. And Ollie is like, oh, I thought you said 156 foot tall soldiers or something. So the soldiers in the movie are like full size, like 6 foot soldiers, which ends up coming to save the day from the evil Barnaby. That's kind of like another thing that Leonard Maltin didn't like the whole Ray Bolger playing the villain part. I mean, he's not really scary and doesn't make me really feel like he's dangerous. Contrast that with the Barnaby from the 34 version. Like, he's really mean.
Even when Ray Bolger gets the proof gun, and that could be potentially dangerous, it still didn't seem that dangerous. And honestly, like, when he's walking around with the other two, he's like, come on, let's pussyfoot. Let's lurk. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know.
So
let's lurk.
More comedic, which was a choice.
Yeah, that's kind of what this film's all about. It's really, it's over the top, funny, and I love that about this movie. It's not real, so I don't take things like at face value. Like, maybe I phrased that wrong. Don't take things at face value, right? Just like, for example, the trees. Like, these are wacky. They're not scary at all. They're super funny. And this is another scene that kind of bugs me because they're prisoners. The kids are prisoners of these trees. But then when they tell them that you need to go to Toyland, meet the toy maker, and he can release you, they go marching through the forest, hand in hand with the tree, singing the Toyland song.
It's Hand and Branch.
Hand and Branch.
Let's get it right.
So I'm not going to say anything bad, anything more bad about the movie. I'm just saying there's some things in it that just kind of make you scratch your head. But all in all...
So this doesn't mean that it's a bad movie, but have you ever watched the villagers in this film? I noticed it.
I have, yeah. When I watched it for the second time this week, I kind of paid more attention to the villagers and how they react to situations. Yeah,
reaction, like the whole scene.
Yeah,
with Bo Peep, and she's talking about her sheep or whatever. If you look at the villagers during that scene, some of them are overacting. They're like, "Oh my goodness!" Like the sheep are gone.
Yeah,
the others just.
I know that
they could care less.
There's the older couple, like the kind of the grandma and maybe her husband, like that couple. I know what you're talking about.
So,
yeah.
But that being said, that's what makes me laugh. Also, this might be my favorite quote from the film, and it's Annette. It's from Annette, and it's the whole scene where Ray Bolger goes to tell Annette that Tom has been lost. He went out to sea and he got lost. And Annette is so concerned. She's so sad. And earnestly, she says this line, but this was to be our wedding day. Why would Tom be at sea? And it literally is my
so innocent. Yeah.
Why would Tom be at sea?
Yeah.
It's a valid question. It's a valid question.
Yeah.
Oh.
All right. So I'll kind of close it up with one of the funniest things in this movie. Are you ready? It's when Gene Sheldon and Henry Calvin they got Tom in the bag, right? Well, first of all, Rodrigo's got two mallets, right? He's got a big one to really knock out Tom, and he's got the little small one to just kind of knock him out a little bit when he starts to wake. And I love the stars that's like a Eustace Lycett Robert Matty special effect there with the little stars and the when the machine kind of goes wacky, right? And you see like the I can't find that sheet. Oh, here it is. You see the word help right in there?
Yeah.
And you see it like, help, 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 help. That's another Eustace Lycett Robert Matty special effect thing. But when they take Tom and they come up with this plan, right, to sell Tom to the gypsies, like the only reason why they know that there's gypsies nearby is because there's a sign that says gypsy camp this way. And I'm like, gypsies are like an itinerant people, right? They move from place to place. Like, who is there? Like the gypsy guy that comes out? Okay, here's a sign to our camp. Like, no, there would never be a sign to a gypsy camp.
That's why I love it. That's why those are the little things.
Yeah, it's hilarious.
I love this film too.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
All the little signs.
It's funny. This film has a lot of funny moments.
Whole "Sank into the Sea" song is great. Like, we
didn't talk about that one. Yep.
It's definitely one to unpack, and where there's so many different things each time you watch it. So many different things you notice.
Yeah. So that's kind of I want to briefly talk about Backstage Party and a few fun facts. CC Worthy says, will we do a Peter and the Wolf episode? We haven't really delved into animation.
We have not.
On this show. But yeah, we can consider that. Because I think there is a live action episode of the Disneyland Anthology series that has Peter and the Wolf as an episode, and I can't remember off the top of my head which one it is, but yeah, well, we'll consider that. So many people talk about animation. We just feel like not enough people talk about these live action films, which is why Jared and I do these. This brings us joy.
Why I even
these films.
My Instagram account was. I think it's in the bio. Like there's more to, and I love the animation. But you're right. I think a lot of people only think of animation more when it comes to Disney, and there's so much more to Disney than just the animated films. And so I want to let people know about it, which is why I'm glad that I think CC, I think it was you that said I had never heard of this, and I'm glad that we're able to point you in this direction.
Yeah. Share this with you. Absolutely. So we'll close with this, the Backstage Party, which is one thing we talked about it a little bit earlier, and it's a show on the Wonderful World of Color that aired on December 17th, 1961, and it's just a great episode that Walt used to promote the film. I mean, and there's so much more to it than just meeting the characters in the movie and seeing the set. It's like you get this awesome tour of the studio at the beginning. And I recorded this episode and I put it in the Dropbox. So if anybody wants to see this, I mean, you can probably watch it on YouTube, but if you want to download a personal copy, you can go to the Dropbox right now and download it. But send me a direct message with your email address, and I can add you to that Dropbox account, and then I can give you these story albums as well. So Backstage Party, a great tour of the studio. You get to see the Western set, and they actually show some scenes from Toby Tyler that were filmed on that set. You get to see the residential street, where movies like Shaggy Dog, Absent Minded Professor, that road where all the houses are, that's that suburban street. Even the North Avenue Irregulars was on that. There's so many movies that were used that that darn cat.
Such a great street.
Yeah, it's so recognizable in any of the movies you see. It's just like, oh, that's the street. That's the street Annette lives on. And also the animation building, doubles as like Medfield College, North High, Old South High, and the Annette serial. So many, you see that over and over again. The Dexter Riley episodes or movies, they use the animation building as a front for the school.
So that they could, they could
as a campus, right?
Which is kind of smart,
Smart. Yeah, Chris just mentioned the ending of Babes in Toyland and the ending of Grease are the same.
Grease ripped off.
It's kind of funny.
Toyland.
Yeah. And I would urge you guys to listen to episode 85 of the Jiminy Crickets podcast, and Chris and Ruthie do a little deeper dive into the music of the film and compare it to the original operetta. And that's one thing that they both mentioned at the end of that podcast was the comparison to Grease, as Tom and Mary kind of fly up off the set in a sleigh. What car was that in Grease?
I'm not a car person at all.
I can't remember. Yeah. So anyways, back to the Backstage Party. Just lots of great scenes. You get to see Ray Bolger doing another dance for Annette, and he's like, I'm the only one that knows this dance. And you see everybody's dancing behind him. It's funny. And then you get this great Ed Wynn comedy routine. I love when he like pulls out this record and he pulls it out. It's like a square record. It's like, this is used for square dancing.
See, I love dad jokes. I do. I love them. I say them.
Yeah,
I make people eyes
it's a
roll
great
with them,
joke.
and that's so great. That's same with that foot falling asleep joke. Like it's totally Ed Wynn, and it's just great.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Really, go watch Backstage Party on YouTube. It's there. I might upload it to my YouTube channel as well. But Ed Wynn gets a Mousker on stage or on set as well, which he very appreciative for. But I think the highlight of this is to see some of the people who did the music for this film. So, of course, Victor Herbert wrote the original operetta, but George Bruns picked that up and made some changes to the Herbert score, kind of made it Disney-fied it, as you will, kind of like what he did with Sleeping Beauty.
Yep.
You know, with the Tchaikovsky score for that ballet. He picked that up, made some changes, and then Mel Levin added lyrics to, I think he added the lyrics to Sleeping Beauty. I have to look that up. Chris probably knows. But Mel Levin added lyrics to all these songs. So you see them in the Backstage Party. You see Mel Levin on the guitar and George Bruns playing the trombone. And Jimmy McDonald is also there playing the drums, who's the great sound effect artist. And then there's a few others. I don't remember their names, but it's really cool just to see these people in their element. You know, they're in it's just so Disney. It's so fun. I mean, everybody loves George Bruns, whether or not, if you know him or not. He is the Disney sound guy. You know, George Bruns and Buddy Baker.
With Ballad of Davy Crockett, like, you know what I mean? Like, Sword in the Stone.
George Bruns is Disney music. It's like, and he plays a mean trombone, and you see that in this. It's so cool. Tommy Sands singing Jeepers Creepers, which I can't. Sorry.
I have to be out early tomorrow, and I think I'm going to stay up and watch Backstage Pass again.
Yeah, you should totally watch it. Yeah. And probably the most funny song is Ann Jillian singing the song called Flock of Sheep Named Henry. It's a song about how she'll never lose her sheep if they are Henry size. One of the lines is like, when he's standing in the back of a tree, he is very easy to see.
Well.
Oh, we went really long on this, you guys, but it's been fun. You know, I was really looking forward to doing this one with you, Jared, and it's kind of gained a new appreciation for Babes in Toyland and all the jokes, and just fell in love with Ed Wynn a lot more. So, any final thoughts?
Well, one really quick fun fact. Did you know that Walt Disney originally was considering Dean Jones for the role of Tom?
Oh.
Or Barnaby.
Sorry. No, was it Tom? Oh, did he want to be Tom? I mean, he could have done both.
And I can't find it now. No,
I actually wrote that down too. Walt originally wanted Dean Jones to play Barnaby. Oh, was it Tom? I wrote it down wrong. Okay. Wow. I would have gone for that because that's the other thing I have with Tommy Sands. I don't get the Disney vibe. Like, this film is full of Disney family of actors, and then you have Tommy Sands, which is like, it's like one of these things is not like the other.
I feel like he wedged his way in as he could be a Disney. And same with the woman who played Mother Goose. I'm surprised she wasn't used more because I think she fit in perfectly. But you're right about Tommy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, Ray Bolger was in Wizard of Oz, so he's kind of got that fantasy element. He fits right in. Tommy Sands is just like I kind of wish Tommy Kirk played Tom. I get I'm sad when Tommy Kirk gets stuck in these like goofball-y roles, you know. that's the other thing issue I have with this film is Tommy Kirk is just kind of, he's wearing these glasses. I mean, he's a great actor, but it's like,
they're like goggles,
you know, goggles or something. Yeah, I love when Tommy Kirk and Annette have a romantic relationship on screen. You know, like Escapade in Florence or Escapade in Florence is so good. More people need to watch that.
Fun fact
it is so good.
I believe that one was the Disney VHS that I had purchased to get my collection started.
Oh,
that's a little fun fact for Jared.
That's the reason why. Yeah, that's the reason why I joined the Disney Movie Club.
Escapade in
Florence? Was to buy that on DVD. Yep. Mm-hmm. I went on Amazon to find it, and it was like they wanted like $79. I'm like, what?
There you go.
That's crazy.
So for anyone who hasn't seen it, look it up, track it down, and watch it.
Mm-hmm. Join the Disney Movie Club. Watch it.
But no, it's a fun one. It's a good one to watch at Christmas, and even though it's not overtly Christmas.
Yeah, I don't. If I'm completely honest with myself, I don't consider Babes in Toyland to be a Christmas movie, at least the Disney version. But it does have some Christmas elements. And to be fair, a lot of Christmas movies, like It's a Wonderful Life, really isn't a Christmas movie until the end, right? It's Christmas Eve is when a lot of Christmas movies are that way.
That's true.
You know. Like the major plot of the highlight of the film happens at Christmas. And that's kind of like, well, not even Babes in Toyland. It's October. Right?
It's half
when they're making all the toys. Yeah, half past October. So, all righty.
It's always fun talking with you and it's everybody.
Yeah, we went long, but I appreciate everybody. CC Worthy, it was really nice to have you join today. Really enjoyed your comments and questions, and we'll consider Peter and the Wolf just for you. But next month we'll be back with The Happiest Millionaire, which is a movie Jared watches every New Year's Day. Yes. Is it?
It's just one to.
I'm going to watch it too.
Start off the new year.
Yeah, we'll have fun with that next month, and we'll see everybody next month with Happiest Millionaire. But watch Babes in Toyland on Disney Plus. Go to YouTube and watch Backstage Party. And Merry Christmas, Happy New Year to everyone. Good night. We love all of you. We love sharing these classic Disney films that bring us so much happiness.
Thanks, Brian.
Thanks, Jared. It was a pleasure.
Until next time.
All right. Good night, everybody.
Bye.
Bye-bye.